Right now in this photo editing training, we'll be learning everything concerning photo editing from the beginner stage to the professional stage. So right now we're going to begin with the installation of the softwares we are going to be using for this photo editing training. We are going to begin this training with Adobe Photoshop installation. Right now, before you can begin using Adobe Photoshop for your photo editing, you must have gotten the software ready on a CD, or you might have copied it into your system. Right now I have mine on my system, so I'll go to my software collection box to pick mine and start the installation. So here is how the installation goes. Click on my computer, I'll locate my software folder. I think it's somewhere here. Yeah, this is it. This is where I keep all my softwares. So I'll look for Adobe Photoshop. Once your Adobe Photoshop is on a CD plate, you insert the CD plate inside your CD-ROM, and you right click on the CD plate, you click on open, and you will see an icon like this on the CD-ROM. Or if you already have your Adobe Photoshop set up on your system, just locate it and you double click on it. After double clicking on it, a box like this will now come up showing you welcome to the Adobe Photoshop CS4 setup wizard. The next thing you do, you click on next. You click on next again, click on next again, and you click on install. Then you can see the software running. Wait for it to finish running. Just be patient. Adobe Photoshop is not that heavy, so it won't take much time to finish. It's almost done. It's very fast. It's almost done. Yeah, right now Adobe Photoshop has successfully installed your system, so you click on finish. So if you want to be a professional photo editor, you are going to be using Adobe Photoshop in different way. You are going to be using Adobe Photoshop in changing of background, customizing of picture, removing of spots and pupils from face. For you to use Adobe Photoshop to achieve all these purposes successfully, you will have to include a plugin called Portraiture. I already have Portraiture on my system in my software box, so I will locate my Portraiture, right click on it, copy it. I will now go to where my Adobe Photoshop setup was installed into. So you locate check your drive C, go to program files, locate Adobe. This is the wrong place. Go back again, look for the right place that your installation entered into. Right click Adobe. I think mine run into this particular folder, CS4. Then click it, then click plugin, then click on filter, then right click and paste your Photoshop inside filter. After then you can now close this folder, close all the folder. Then your Adobe Photoshop icon is already showing on your desktop. You double click on it to open it. Yeah, and you click on accept. Wait for it to come up. Yeah, your Adobe Photoshop is up, working perfectly. Right now we are going to be working in this Adobe Photoshop environment. With this Adobe Photoshop, you can change background, you can customize picture, and you can do a lot of things. And you will be working with different tools to achieve all these purposes. We have the move tool, This is the move tool. By right clicking on it, you can see the name move tool. This is the rectangle marquee tool. This is the polygonal lasso tool. We have the quick selection tool. We have the crop tool. We have the eyedropper tool. We have patch tool. We have the color replacement tool. We have clone tool, clone stamp tool. We have history brush tool. We have the eraser tool. We have the gradient tool. We have the blur tool. We have the bond tool. We have the pen tool. We have the type tool, and we have the path selection tool. We have custom shape tool. We have the hand tool. We have the zoom tool, and we have the font foreground and background tool, and we have set foreground color, and we have the edit in quick mask mode tool. So we'll be using all these tools in achieving different purposes in the process of our editing. So how do you now bring in image into Adobe Photoshop? Here is a quick way to bring image into Adobe Photoshop. You minimize your Adobe Photoshop, locate wherever your image is. Mine is here. Okay, mine is not here. Locate the folder where you store all your images. Mine is here. Okay, here is an image I want to use. Okay, this is the image I want to use. You left click, press it down. You left click on the image, holding down your mask, you drag the image into your Photoshop, drag it and release your mask. The image will display automatically after releasing your mask. Now we want to change this background. We want to change this background of this image to any beautiful background of our choice. Now how do we achieve this? You can achieve this by using the quick selection tool, this particular tool here, to select this background. Okay, let's give it a try. Let's see how it goes. You left click on the quick selection tool. After left clicking on the quick selection tool, you can come here, click it, reduce the size to fit in, then you left click on the background. Start left clicking on the background to select the background. You select it. Now you need to zoom out to see the full image properly. How do you zoom out? It is either you use your zoom tool here. After clicking on your zoom tool, if you click on this minus, you zoom out. If you click on this plus sign, you zoom in. But I prefer using my shortcut. You can also use Ctrl space on your keyboard to zoom in, and you can also use alternate space on your keyboard to zoom out. So you zoom out to see the full background of the image. Then you can also use the W alphabet on your keyboard to pick the quick selection tool without going to click on it. But you can also click on it, then you start your selection. Select the background, 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 select the background. After selecting the background successfully, you will now notice that in the process of selecting the background, your selection enter into the image. How do you now minus this part of the image that is included in your selection? When you come to this part of the Photoshop environment, you see a plus here and you see a minus here. So you use your mouse to click on the minus, subtract. You can see it here, subtract. By pointing your mouse on it, subtract click on it, then you click to subtract it from the image. Subtract your background from the image. Subtract your background from the image. Do it carefully. 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 Carefully. Right now, there are some parts we also need to be included to the background, like this tiny part here. We need to be included. You come back here, you click on the brush tool, on the addition tool, to add this particular place to the background. Click it, it's added. Click here, it's added. Click here, it's added. You can use your hand tool to move the image. This hand tool here, you can use it to move the image. And you go back to your quick selection tool, add this place, add this place, add here. Make sure the whole part is added. You can use your hand tool that is here, or you can use the space, which is the shortcut for hand tool, by pressing it down. Go through your image to make sure that everywhere is properly selected and no part of the image is included. Here is included. You go back to your quick selection tool, click on minus, subtract it, subtract it, subtract it, subtract it. Press it down your space on the keyboard to pick your hand tool. You go through the image, go through the image. You can see that here is included. You come here, you reduce your quick selection tool so that you can include this place. It's showing the minus sign, so you click on the plus sign, include here. So after here, what do? You refine the edges of the image. How do you refine edge? Click on refine edge and you set it. Set mine to 46. Refine a decrease. You can see the description here. Each time you click on it, decrease to contract the selection edge, increase to expand the selection edge. Here further soften the selection edge with a uniform block. For more refined results, use radius. I take mine to 3.2. Smoothing, remove the jagged edges along the selection edge. Some fine detail may be recovered with radius. Use it to 12. I like using my radius. Put my radius to about 3.2 or so. Click OK if I'm satisfied with my results. While clicking OK, now click on your zoom tool. Click on the subtraction. You click to zoom back. Now the full background is selected, and we want to replace this background with another good background because we don't like this background. It's not that beautiful. So you come to this other part of your Photoshop where you will see the image. This is what we call the layer. Here is the layer here. So you double click on the image to unlock it. Click OK. Then after clicking OK, you press the delete button on your keyboard. After pressing the delete button on your keyboard, we now have something like this, like a transparent background. On this stage, you can now press the Ctrl D on your keyboard. Press Ctrl and D on your keyboard to stop the selection. Now you can see that you have a transparent background. Now you can fill in any background of your choice. Right now, I have some beautiful background on my computer. So here is how you will bring in your background. The same process you use in bringing your picture to Photoshop, that is the same process you will also use to bring in your background. Now you minimize your Photoshop, look for where your background, find your background. My background is perfectly here on my system, so I look for the one I prefer to work with. Here now is a personal decision. look for something that will match the color. I think I like this, so I left click on it, press it down my mask, and move it to Photoshop, drag it, and free the mask. So my background is here. So how do you now put this background inside the image? You drag click on the background from this top bar, press down, left click, press it down your mouse, drag it down. Start dragging it down, go to your move tool. Like I told you earlier that we'll be using all these different tools for different purposes. You click on your move tool and you come back to the background, left click, press it down, you drag it inside the image. Then you can now minimize your background. Start dragging it inside the image. You have two options to order it to the back, either by coming to the layer and dragging it, left click, press it and dragging it behind the image here, or you can use a shortcut control, press it down your control and hitting your bracket button from your image. So you can use either of the two to order it to back. So here, after pushing it behind the image, you drag it. Use your mouse, you drag it. Start dragging it, you double click on it to free it. So right now we have successfully changed the background of this image. You can also use this tool here, the dodge. When you right click here, you see some drop down list. You have the dodge tool, the bond tool. Use this. You can also use this bond tool to darken the background a little bit, darken it to make it more beautiful. After doing this, you can now come back to this layer. You right click and you left click on flat mesh image. Left click on flat mesh image. At this stage, you can now save your image. Before I save my image, I would like to duplicate my image so that I can have a copy of the original. So I come back to where my image is, copy it and paste it. On this stage, I will now click on my image. I'll say yes, quality 9. Can put it high because that my image can be very strong. Click OK, and that is it. Minimize your Photoshop, go to where your image is, and you can see that locate it. Have successfully changed the background of our image. This was how it was originally, but now we have successfully changed it to this background. So that is how you can change. That is one of the process that you can use to change the background of an image. I will show you another process.